From November to April each year, Australia's northwest is threatened by one of nature's most destructive and unpredictable weather systems, an intense tropical cyclone. Severe blows can bring torrential rainfall and winds of up to 280 kilometres an hour. George Manning is the ABC radio voice of Broome and the Kimberley. He's warned of many a cyclone and has been the only calm voice when all hell is breaking loose.
Our role is to let everybody know what's going on, without adding any frills. How big it is, which direction it's travelling in, is it heading for the coast, and if so, is it going to come over Broome or wherever, A lot of people are experiencing their very first cyclone and they really do not know what to expect. The wind starts to pick up and it doesn't just howl, it screams.
The coast between Broome and Exmouth in Western Australia is said to be the most cyclone-prone coast in the world. With destructive and threatening regularity, it has earned the title of Cyclone Ally. In an average season, this 1,000-kilometre strip of coastline will weather 4 cyclones. The most legendary blows have become characters in the region's history, and everyone who lives in Cyclone Ally has a favourite story.
Yeah, well, see up there, that was my bedroom yesterday before it all blew down. There, he's gone now.
Yeah, pretty hairy. He's fairly close there. Yeah, it was pretty hairy, heaps of wind. And as you can see, it sort of ripped the shit out of everything, didn't it?
It was just like a freight train, just, those BHP locomotives.
There's a big wind behind the back and just went.
Oh.
Yeah, they got a bit windy, but the actual roadhouse got a fair shudder up to it. And the ceiling started whipping and carrying on.
The eye's the lull. The eye is actually a dead lull. All of a sudden the wind goes from 100 knots to nothing, and you can, virtually strike a match and it won't blow out.
Just howling and crashing. You could hear tin and metal and trees growing. It was fairly bad actually, a lot more than what I expected.
All of a sudden there was this amazing bang. I mean, it really was huge. And we realised that the Kennedy store next door had lost its roof and it had landed right on our studio. We had 2 roofs, That was scary. That was scary.
Imagine a whole roof of corrugated iron just taken off like a flock of pigeons. That's how it is.
In the recorded history of Cyclone Ally, 2 major industries have been shaped by the cyclone. Since the beginning of the 1850s, the pearling industry has feared the big winds. But for pastoralists, they have often been a blessing in disguise.
It was a sort of a yin-yang sort of thing. The pearling industry hated cyclones. The pastoralists like cyclones. The pastoral industry relied on cyclones. They really needed cyclones to make sure they had adequate rainfall. Cyclones actually helped break the drought, and so they were valuable as well as deadly.
But for cattle stations that take in a strip of coastline, a cyclone can be devastating. These cattle were blinded by the wind and rain and kept walking out to sea at low tide, only to be drowned and washed up when the tide turned. Many of the pearl divers of Broome survived tiger sharks and the bends, only to die an awful death in a cyclone.
A cyclone had a huge impact on the community of Broome. The major part of the population of all of Broome was involved in the pearling industry. Certainly great loss of life. In 2 cyclones alone, one 1887, another just 2 years later in 89. Between the 2, 440 lives, 82 boats lost.
Probably the most devastating for the European population of Broome happened in 1912 when the town was hit. The whole northwest coast was hit in this particular blow, but the Kombana, which was a passenger ship coming back with Broome families, it virtually struck every family and every business was affected by this. People were lost, whole families lost, wives, children particularly, they lost everything. And this was a very devastating cyclone for Broome.
With the development of satellite forecasting in the 60s and 70s, protecting the people of Cyclone Ally has become much easier.
A warning is current for a Category 3 cyclone for the coastal areas between Broome and Wynn Creek. A cyclone watch extends from Wynn Creek to Dampier. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, severe tropical cyclone Chris was located 150 kilometres west-northwest of Broome and 280 kilometres north of Wallow, moving south at 15 kilometres per hour.
The best thing is not to panic. That's what I told my daughters. Don't panic. I said, photos and everything, they're on the wall, leave it. If you panic, that's it. You're dead.
What do you reckon about the cyclone?
How far it is?
I don't know. Are you worried?
No. I don't worry about it. And nothing makes me worry until it hits.